All right, I'm going to go through some updates to tuning tools. This is version 1.2. Overall, did a bunch of cleanup to the app, and I'm going to walk through some feature updates. So, a couple ones on the data log viewer plot section is that now every card that you configure to have data items plotted persists across your sessions. So before, if you loaded another data log, you'd have to go back in here and check these things off that you wanted to see. And now, as you see, it persists across as you load a different or new data log. Show you that again. All right, so that persists. So every single card, every single data item that's checked off will persist. Another update I did is to add a presets feature. So each card can have a different configuration of data items that you show in the plots. So this one I'm showing timing right now. I know I have this duplicated, so why don't I change it to a preset that I created for boosts? And so now you'll see that it is boost items from my data logging, from my data log. This also persists. So if I change the preset, it will persist across data loads. All right. The other thing that I added that I took out, part of the cleanup, is that it used to be that we'd have these cards over here that would show wide open throttle events, and you click on each card and it goes to that wide open throttle event. I took that out because I basically have it redundantly up here where there's moments in the data log that we pull out: ignition retard, thermal events, wide open throttle events, shift events. And I actually find this really handy, especially in larger logs like this. This is a data log from a track session. You can see there's 52 wide open throttle events and 55 shift events. Obviously, you have to have these things in your data logs, like pedal and TCU shift or gear shift. That's how it pulls them. You can actually filter by them as well. And if I tap on one, it zooms into that area that has that wide open throttle event. Bring back all these other ones, but this is super helpful as well to zoom in very quickly. I also did some cleanup around the data access markers and the basic data names. I made them smaller so it's much more compact. You can fit a lot more into the window that way. And generally just kind of cleans everything up, tightens everything up. The next thing I did, which I thought was, which I think is really great, I've already been using it and it's been super helpful, is I had cell tracing already in the data log view and not in just the bin view and compare, but let me show you where it actually can help a lot. So just for the sake of this walkthrough, I'm going to switch this to timing. I'm going to zoom in on a section of timing. Let's go to this one just for this demo. So this is a wide open throttle event. See the timing. And let's say I wanted to see okay, well, you know what? I don't think this timing right here matches my ignition table. So I wonder if there's some compensation happening. So I'm going to add basically the temp-based correction tables. And so this is based on coolant and IATs. So the first one is this very large ignition table, which basically you set up for how much, what's the max amount of ignition retard that the DME can do based on IAT and coolant. And so you'll see here that there's just RPM and load here. So where's the IAT and coolant factor table? So let's add that, which I believe is called timing correction factor. So all your DME tables are here, as you know, from my flex fuel tune, which I'm running right here. See 50% ethanol. I'm gonna load this guy right here. And as you go over your data log, it traces the cells. So you can see right now at 6,000 RPM, about 14 degrees timing across at 6,000 RPM. And if you look at the table up here, it's basically on the 57 degrees Celsius IAT and 90 degrees Celsius coolant. This is based off the data log. And so it's almost about half interpolation to this table. So that means half of 5 is 2.5. So about 2.5 degrees of ignition timing is being taken out at 6,000 RPM. And you can do that for the rest. Now, what I've added that's actually different and additional to what we had before is you have the ability now to change what data items gets plotted to each axis to do that cell tracing. No guessing. You basically can set it. Obviously, you want to set it to what it's actually looking up. So for this one, it's obviously RPM. And so by default, there's global defaults that I have set, but obviously I haven't done every single table, so you can set whatever you want. All you have to do is click on these little items. This little drop down comes up and you can set it to whatever you want to actually set it to. So for timing correction factor, I actually switched this because it didn't recognize it. So it's coolant and IAT. And you can change it to, something else if you want, but it's not going to be accurate. So again, use your common sense when you do this. And I think it's a really, really cool feature. Of course, you have to have those things data logged to be able to do cell tracing realistically. The other thing I've done is bin editing. And so you can see in this example that, okay, you know what? I think this is actually a little bit too much ignition, taking too much ignition timing. So I just click into each cell. You'll see that this area up here turns on, and I added functions so you can scale, divide, multiply, interpolate, et cetera, et cetera. Just do the hard value, or you can just type in. So, I want this to be 2.5. And that's basically added the amount of, because I have offset. So if I want to scale by percentage, and I want to do -50, so it takes half of it out. It's -3.8. This will resolve to whatever the binding elements are in the XDF. So this will probably, once I download the modified bin, it will say -4 in the actual tool. So this is beta, so use it at your own risk. I've kind of tested it. It works pretty well, but again, always download the modified bin, open in Tuner Pro, take a look at it, make sure everything's right before you actually flash the car. I'll continue to bang on this and make sure there's no bugs, but for now, it works as designed. All right, well, let me know if you have any issues. Hope you enjoy these updates, and see you all next month for even more updates.